In today's video, we'll be flying on Air Canada's 777-300ER in business class from Toronto Pearson Airport to Tokyo Haneda Airport. Not only is Air Canada the largest carrier in Canada, but it was also voted as North America's best airline 8 times in the past 10 years, although they did get dethroned by Delta in 2023. This is all according to Skytrax, but let's find out for ourselves on this flight today if they are worthy of the previous 8 wins.
Now, if you are Canadian like I am, then you already know this, but if you're not, amongst my fellow Canucks, Air Canada is a very, very polarizing company. My fellow Canadians have very, very strong opinions about Air Canada. And with that being said, let's start to check in.
Now, Air Canada does have a dedicated check-in area for anyone flying on international business class, which can be found in aisle 1 of Terminal 1 in Toronto Pearson Airport. It's also accessible to passengers flying on Air Canada's Premium Rouge, Premium Economy, and for elite members. We do luck out today because there's only a few people ahead of us when we check in. As international business class ticket holders, we are allowed 2 luggages each to check in, with a maximum weight of 70 pounds or 32 kilograms per bag. And after getting our bags tagged, we're told that the luggage carousel unfortunately isn't working today, so we'll have to walk our luggage over a few steps over to a trolley where our luggage will be taken to the plane for us. And after clearing security, it's now time for us to check out the lounges. Now, we actually have access to 2 different lounges today, Air Canada's Maple Leaf Lounge as well as their Signature Suites Lounge. The standard Maple Leaf Lounge is, quite honestly, far less superior to the Signature Suites Lounge, so definitely don't go there if you're flying Signature class like we are today.
So I'm just about to head into the Air Canada Signature Suites Lounge. I would say that this is actually the most exclusive airport lounge in Toronto Pearson Airport. Reason being is the only way you can have access to this lounge is if you're flying on Air Canada on a signature class flight, which is just Air Canada's really fancy marketing term for long-haul international business class flight. You have to either pay for this flight for full in cash, or you can redeem points for it using their loyalty program Aeroplan, but you do have to redeem the points at the higher flexible rate. They don't even give access to their, elite members or members that have status with a partner airline. So let's go check it out. This is actually my first time going into this airport lounge. So the fact that this is my first time going in here, that should tell you how often I fly business class with Air Canada.
The Signature Suites Lounge is located by Gate 77, and you will have to take the elevator or walk up the stairs to floor 3 in order to get to it. The Air Canada Signature Suite Lounge here in Toronto is around 6,500 square feet, with plenty of open seating available. It's currently around 8 a.m., and oddly enough, the buffet isn't actually open. We're told that it won't be ready until around 12 noon, which is long past our boarding time of 11:05 a.m. Strangely enough though, even though the buffet isn't open, the bar is fully operational. But instead, we opt to try out their in-lounge restaurant-style area where you can order dishes made to order a la carte. The restaurant has a good selection of beer, wines, and cocktails, and I opt for a pretty pink cocktail while my partner gets a beer. As for the menus, you'll find that for all things signature class, they will feature dishes created by Chef David Hawksworth, a Canadian chef based out of Vancouver. For the appetizers, we start off with the roasted cauliflower soup, served with seared scallops as well as the rainbow trout tartare on avocado. Both are absolutely delicious. Next up for our mains, we opt for the Fogo Island cod, served with celeriac, velouté, edamame, and fennel, as well as the Hawksworth burger, which is served with a tempura onion ring, aged cheddar, bacon, all on a pain au lait bun, and of course, a side of fries. Unfortunately, by the time dessert rolls around, we are absolutely stuffed, so we decide to pass this time around.
All right, so that food was absolutely incredible. It truly was fine dining. I can't believe it was at an airport lounge. And honestly, it was definitely better than any other food that I've had at any airport lounge here at Toronto Pearson Airport. Usually the food at the airport lounges here are pretty bad, mediocre at best on a good day, but this was definitely like any fine dining restaurant. With that, it's time for us to check into our flight, the main show.
Today, our flight will be departing from Gate 78, and after getting our ticket scanned and our passport checked, it's now time for us to board the flight.
Thank you.
The Signature Suites Lounge is located by Gate 78, and after getting our ticket scanned and our passport checked, it's now time for us to board the flight.
Thank you.
Today, our flight will be departing from Gate 78, and after getting our ticket scanned and our passport checked, it's now time for us to board the flight. Our plane today has Collins Aerospace Super Diamond seats in a 1-to-1 configuration for business class. The first 7 rows of business class make up the larger of the 2 business class cabins, and rows 8 through 11 make up a mini business class cabin, where we will be sitting today in seat 11A, and my partner is 1 row ahead in 10A. The seats are covered in dark gray fabric and come with a seat cover, blanket, pillow, and slippers waiting for us. There's also a bottle of water right in front of the 18-inch touchscreen IFE. And to the left, underneath the windows, by our side table is a storage compartment, which houses a remote control, which can be used to control the IFE, as well as a headphone jack and a USB-A port. There's also a universal power port as well.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. Would you care for sparkling water or sparkling wine?
Water, please.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
And at the edge of our side table, we have controls for service, lighting, as well as the seats. This is what our footwell looks like, which is plenty of space if you're 5'3" like I am. And to the left of the footwell, we do have a literature compartment. Inside is pretty much a standard issue safety card, as well as not just 1, but 2 barf bags. Hopefully, we won't need them. And here's what our headphones look like. They're noise canceling, and I would classify them as alright, although they do label them left and right in case you get confused. Up by the headrest, there is a small reading light, and up on top, we do have lights. Sadly, no individual air vents though. And of course, this wouldn't be an airplane if there wasn't a coat hook, which is located in the top right, basically behind the headrest of the person in front of you. And yes, I am one of the few people that will actually use the coat hook. And finally, off to the right, underneath the armrest, is another compartment, which I personally like to use to store my water bottle in. It's now time to get our seatbelts on and to watch the safety video. Now, I actually really like Air Canada's safety video because I appreciate that they do feature images from all over Canada from each of the provinces and territories.
When the seatbelt sign has been turned on, and we suggest wearing it even when the sign is turned off.
Shortly after takeoff is complete, the FAs come around and hand us a hot towel. After wiping down my hands with it, I obviously wipe down my seat area as well, because, quite honestly, I don't know if any airline can be trusted to do this. Our tables are also dressed up with a white linen tablecloth, and we're served a small tray of warm mixed salted nuts as well as a beverage. I opt for sparkling water with lemon. Now let's check out our amenity kit, which is by Acqua di Parma. Acqua di Parma is an Italian brand, and it's actually the same one that Etihad uses, although Etihad's is much nicer because theirs is leather, whereas this one is fabric. The amenity kit comes with a toothbrush, a small container of mouthwash, as well as a miniature-sized Colgate. There's also some Acqua di Parma hand cream, as well as some lip balm. And of course, there's an eye mask and a pair of black socks. There's earplugs, of course, but my favorite part is actually this microfiber cloth, which I always love having because they're great for cleaning your phone lenses or your camera lenses. There, you guys are squeaky clean now. And now my favorite part of any flight, if I'm being honest, it's of course to check out the menu and the food. Because we're flying in signature class today, there will be select dishes which were done in collaboration with Chef Hawksworth, like we saw in the Signature Suites lounge. In case anyone is wondering, Chef Hawksworth is second from the right. Here's a quick peek at our dinner menu. As for the drink menu, it features champagne and wines from both Europe and Canada, as well as an Aperol Spritz, beer, liquors, and hard seltzers. The appetizer arrives first, and it's served on a tray.
And there you go, your appetizer.
We have a prawn cocktail, which is a signature Chef Hawksworth item, and it's served with a spicy seafood sauce, some guacamole, pineapple, a single red pepper, and a single slice of jalapeno. It also comes with a green salad, and I select the garlic bread from the bread basket. The presentation is actually really nice, and everything also tasted really great as well. It's a good start to the meal, actually. Next we have the main. Now normally I would not have ordered the chicken because I generally find it basic and boring, but since the chicken is a signature Hawksworth item on the menu, I go with it. Generally I find if an airline has a featured chef or restaurant on the menu that the quality of those dishes will be much higher than that of the standard offerings. And I wasn't wrong, because this Parmesan crusted chicken tasted like it came straight out of a commercial kitchen as opposed to an airplane galley where it actually came out of. It was juicy and the Parmesan crust was flavorful. You also can't go wrong with buttery mashed potatoes and some greens. I gotta give Air Canada and Chef Hawksworth their flowers where flowers are due because they knocked this one out of the park. Unfortunately, when it comes to dessert, I'm unable to order the final Hawksworth item, the coconut lavender cake, since I'm allergic to coconut. So instead, I get the cheese plate, which is fine by me since cheese as well as croissants are my favorite foods. Sadly, no croissants with this cheese plate, but I enjoy it anyways. And after dinner service, they immediately turn out the lights, which I think is their way of telling us that it's nap time and that we need to leave them alone now. Not that I blame them, because I would also want us to leave them alone if I was an FA on this flight. Let's check out the washrooms in the meantime. They have a herringbone patterned flooring, as well as bathroom amenities by a brand called Edition Voyage. No Aqua de Parma here. And in keeping with our Canadian theme, there are many gray maple leaves along the wall, although there is one single red maple leaf near the bottom next to the handrail. Not sure if this is a design choice or maybe it's just cheaper for them to have the one red maple leaf. There is a coat hook on the door, of course, and across from the door there is a mirror. Our sink is thankfully automatic because who wants to touch things in an airplane bathroom if you don't have to? And of course, we always love a bathroom with a view. After brushing my teeth, and yes, I do use bottled water to brush my teeth on an airplane because using water that comes from an airplane bathroom would be absolutely disgusting. I clean up a little bit, and then it's time to head back to our seats. It's time to try and get some sleep. As for our seats, they are 21 inches in width, and when you put them in lie flat mode, they're around 79 inches long. Unfortunately, I'm a terrible sleeper though, even though these beds were quite comfy, so I decide to maybe try and get some work done. And as the perfect sign that I should actually just procrastinate, my computer lets me know that it's going to take about 2 hours to transfer all my files over, so I decide instead that maybe it's time for me to enjoy some movies. And let's check out our movie and entertainment selection today. Well, if we can actually get it to respond, which took a couple of tries. Alright, there we go. It has a decent selection of movies, but as for the TV shows, unfortunately, each of the TV series seem to only have 2 episodes per TV series, which makes 0 sense to me because who only wants to watch 2 episodes of a TV show? They should really consider loading at least full seasons onto here. They do provide free texting for Aeroplan members, so make sure you sign up for Air Canada's Aeroplan membership before boarding the plane so you can make use of the texting. If you do want to stream things or just have full internet capabilities, you will have to purchase Wi-Fi though. 1 hour clocks in at $10.75 Canadian. And a full flight comes in at $30.75 Canadian, which is about $2.05 per hour on this 15-hour flight. A few hours later, and it's now time for the light bites portion of the menu. And unfortunately, this is where the food situation starts to go downhill. The chicken pot pie is still cold in the middle, and it's mushy and just generally tasteless. This was also the same story for my boyfriend's chicken pot pie as well, and the potato wedges were just overly salty. And now it's time to spend an obscene amount of time doing one of my favorite airplane activities, watching the flight path. I don't know what it is, but there's something so satisfying about watching the little digital plane make progress across the screen. And now it's time for the final meal for flight breakfast. I decide to go with the noodles, and unfortunately, these aren't great either. They're bland and overcooked, and I could definitely use some help from Chef Hawksworth. Or better yet, Air Canada should consider consulting a 70-year-old Asian grandma for these, because we all know that nobody can make better noodles than an Asian grandma. My boyfriend got the fluffy parsley omelet, and it was true to its name because it was fluffy. I would definitely recommend you get this instead because it's definitely one of the better things that Air Canada serves. As for my other favorite food, croissants, well, I've had plenty of these on Air Canada economy class, and the croissants in economy are always rock hard and inedible. But we are in business class today, so obviously the croissants here are, well, actually, they're also terrible. So I'd say just avoid croissants altogether on Air Canada, regardless of where you're sitting. Sadly, the fruit plate ended up being the highlight of breakfast, but it's pretty hard to mess up a fruit plate, I would think. There was also a bowl of muesli, but I didn't eat it since it was topped with coconut. I feel like it would have tasted good though, based on looks. Shortly after our breakfast trays are cleared, we begin our descent into Tokyo, and we luck out because there's a breathtaking sunset to greet us as we land in Japan. So let's talk about how much all this cost. Normally, a one-way business class ticket on this flight would have been around $5,000 per person, but I did use my Aeroplan points to redeem for this flight, and I know it's super annoying when people say that, but I do have a ton of points saved up from work trips that I've never used, and I finally decided to enjoy life a little bit instead of hoarding points for no reason. So I redeemed 135,000 Aeroplan points per person for this flight. I did redeem them at the higher flexible rate so that we could have the full Signature Class experience, which included access to the Signature Class lounge on the ground. Otherwise, it would have cost 110,000 points per person, plus $65 in taxes and fees per person.
All right, so we got our luggage. It came out really, really quick thanks to the priority baggage tagging, I guess. And now we're just waiting for the train. Overall, the flight was pretty good. Food, of course, was hit or miss, but I have to say that the richer half at the front of the plane in business class, 1,000% lives a lot better than those of us in economy normally. So save your dollars or loonies, as we like to call them in Canada, and get yourself business class. Or you could be like me and save up some Aeroplan points.